internships.
Okay.
Because voice, we are looking for problems and how to solve these problems. But another organization that would basically be an intermediate where they know which companies offer internships and
Mm,
for what fields,
okay.
and then be able to bring that and work with the university so that the universities themselves can start offering to their
Mm,
own students those
yes.
internships. We don't all have to keep on looking to find it in our own countries. Like, why should we have to each have to go to another country to be able to find internship and then come back here? Why can't we just find internships over here?
Perfect.
Simply go. So yeah, the solution is we need a strong campaign for this, and we also need a stronger campaign to be able to reach all students and let them know about us and what we're doing and all of these.
Mm,
Because like one of the students said, they just recently found out about voice and a lot of the things here. They were
mm-hmm.
all alone, so we need a stronger campaign to be able to reach everyone, and we all can come together as one community, as one society, as all of us international students with each other. We want this, or we want to develop that. We all have potential. We are all amazing students here. A lot of us are in different fields, so we need to at least be able to use those fields and those skills in the place where we live at and we spend a lot of our time.
Perfect, Mohammed. Mohammed, thank you so much for your insight, and thank you to all of your group for this amazing insight. Almost everyone is agreeing with you. There is a lack of internship, and I'm going to repeat what you said because we just joined live and they kind of missed the first part that you said. Room one basically discussed that there are lack of internships and lack of opportunities beside basically the basic jobs like being a waitress or a barista that doesn't actually affect us or impact us in a positive way towards our academia or our major in universities. And they're suggesting a strong campaign that acts as like internships for students regarding their major and their curriculum in
Yeah,
university.
to be able to change
Actually,
our theoretical knowledge into practical knowledge, not just be completely
100%.
theoretical. Yeah.
100%. Thank you so much. I've written what you said down, and we're going now to room two. Umar Abu Hussein.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you can go ahead. The platform is yours.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's good. Okay. So our issue here today is finding other and better alternative way of like the teacher teaching us. So what I mean by that is like I think everyone has the same opinion that they find it boring in online. Like they don't attend. They just like mark their attendance and like they leave, whatever. So like me and the group members, we found many ways to make it at least more fun and like motivating for us to study and like
Nice.
attend the classes.
Nice. Tell us about it.
So like one of the ways everyone majorly agreed on is like having a board, a whiteboard, the teacher like opening the camera with like good camera quality and like audio quality and internet quality, where like we can see what the board like offers for us. Like I think it's the closest way to join the face-to-face vibe or like feeling. Okay, and like another option or like solution is having like a pop quiz, a weekly thing, you know, to like refresh our mind and like to be ready for each like chapter or each like thing we study. So like we cover it all and we'll be good. And like another option is having a student-only room for socialism. You know, during the corona and like online, we have like we lose the touch of like talking to humans or like talking to friends or whatever. And like having a student-only room maybe for like the class or like for the university or like some group where like we can talk about random things or whatever. I think it will help mentally, especially. So I think that's good. Yeah. And there's also like the class is boring. So like there's many ways of like finding like to teach us like either with using me like photos, YouTube, videos, like not just reading from the slide. I think people get bored from like the teacher just repeating the words and words and words. Like we lose focus. And like another, the last solution is having an office hour. I know like the teacher sometimes says, okay, guys, at Thursday, 12:30, just call me when you need any help or like any question. But I think if you have a class where you have like office hour where like all the students come and ask questions, it would be helpful for them and other students, because like they may hear questions they never thought they would ask. So to help them like overall. Yeah, that's it.
And I would like to ask you a question. Of course, your group had different members from different universities. Was it agreed upon by all the universities that this was the issue?
I mean, yeah, we all agree about this issue.
Okay, perfection. Thank you so much, group 2. That was amazing. I've written down what you said, both your issues and your suggested solutions. And we're going to group 3, Gabriella or Gabi. Can you unmute yourself?
Hi guys, hi everyone.
Hi dear.
So our group, we tackled mainly the housing issue because a lot of students these days are struggling to meet their rent, and for that on both sides, we don't like not being able to make our payments, but also on the landlord side, they're trying to be understanding, but they really rely on this for a lot of them. It's a means to make some extra income to provide for their families. But also one of the problems we found was that a lot of the housing here is quite expensive. And most of the times the landlords, they want 6 months up to 1 year's rent ahead. And it's really difficult for people to come up with such large amounts all at once. And it's a bit unfair because we're just students, we're just starting out in life, and monthly payments would be easier. Some of the other problems we found is that if we do have a struggle or a problem with our landlords, then we often can't go and find help from, for example, the police station. We don't know where to find a lawyer. We don't know who can speak to us in our own language. Often if you go to the police station, there's not always someone who speaks English there. So some of the solutions that we did find was trying to press for legislation that helps make housing laws more clear, as well as push for things like our contracts being in English, because sometimes people sign a contract and they don't know what they're signing and they can end up in a bad deal. So, things like that, as well as trying to have, like, for example, having representatives of maybe a list of people like lawyers that we could go to where we could find help, or having someone in the police station who always speaks English, like at least one person every hour on duty has to speak English, that can help us, not only housing problems, but other problems as well. Also, just in educating people on what they can ask for and cannot ask for, like trying to encourage people, especially new students, to educate them and let them know that you have rights to these things and you can negotiate to ask for certain things. For example, if you don't want to pay in pounds, you can negotiate to pay in Turkish lira every month, and it just depends on the landlord. One of the really nice ideas that I liked, I think it was Abdullah who suggested it, said that we could maybe have a list or an organization in group. I think you guys have a committee, but like a committee that you can also have like a list of landlords who are willing to help students, and maybe we pay commission to get that house, or if there's a problem between them, that VOIS can intervene between you and the landlord to negotiate things out, stuff like that. Yeah, these are some of the solutions that we spoke about.
Yeah, actually, Gabi, we are actually handling some of the issues and solutions you mentioned. It is funny. We've already like discussed this. To actually like lay out all the plans for you, it's gonna like need the whole meeting. But I've written down every single word you said. Trust on that. And yeah, thank you so much for this group. You guys had a very meaningful conversation. I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Let's go to room 4, and we have Loki as our representative.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, dear, we can.
Yeah, so group 4, we spoke about a lot of issues we faced as international students during the lockdown. and some of them are the discrimination of international students when they go to the bank or other open places during the lockdown. Like sometimes they are not being regarded, like let's say an African student or um, Arabic students, people of colors, they are not being regarded or treated properly. Most of the time they are being favored, like the Turkish people are being favored more than the African students or Arab students. Also, we also brought up financial issues, as most students require needs help from their parents to get money, but during the lockdown they were not able to get such help. So we came up with a solution for food aid, like the food aid, which we are already doing. And also group 3 also spoke about rent, which we also came up with. I think group 3 talked about everything. Then we spoke also about the language issue. Like we said, job opportunities should not be only given to Turkish speakers. Also, if as an international student organization, like as an international student country, it should be also given to English speakers also, not only Turkish speakers. Then we brought up the mental health of students during the lockdown. We brought up the mental health of students during the lockdown, and which it's like an important goal, because most students are being depressed or are being isolated in this lockdown and they are not doing well. So we wanted a campaign about mental awareness and some other stuff. Most of the things we brought up it's all about campaigning and dialogue with the respective bodies. Then the last problem we brought up was the currency exchanging offices. Like instead of being only the bank being open during the lockdown, the currency exchange offices should also be open during this issue, during the lockdown, because most people don't find it easy going to the bank, standing in queue to exchange money. They should also have a place where like the Dovish office should be open always to exchange money for international students. So the solutions for all this is all about campaign awareness and dialogue with respective bodies for the discrimination. And for the discrimination we face, the mental health, we should also campaign for more qualified mental health workers in most universities. And also for the exchange office, campaign for, let's say, if they are going into a full lockdown again, they should also make exchange office available for students and other people to use easily. That's all.
Perfect. Perfect, Loki. Thank you so much. You covered a lot of points, and like I always say, I've written down everything. Now it's room 5's turn. Blurta, I believe, is the representative. Blurta, can you unmute your mic?
Yes. Hi, Maganda.
Hi, dear.
So first of all, we didn't have enough time because
Okay.
of course we had like different ideas and different stuff that we were facing. So I will start with I think all of us, we were kind of disappointed with the student life in Cyprus. We were expecting like a normal student life, just studying, going out. But I think we were not prepared about all the issues like the working, the racism and stuff like that. So some of the ideas were the financial problems, like working, like we have to speak Turkish fluently to find a job. Even the job that like normally is very easy to find, like delivery or something like that. And the other was we talked about when new students come in the island, they don't know where to go. So and people are not very helpful, like finding their department, paying and stuff like that. So maybe for the orientation, like even I addressed this issue before, so we can make like orientation desk, like when students can, when they register, some people from VOIS, like volunteers or leaders, they can we can set like a some logo or something and students can just come and ask us, and we can inform them about life in Cyprus and about VOIS. So if they have some difficulties, they can contact us so we can give more information. Because when we first came, at least for me, I didn't know about VOIS. So I think that we can figure it out. And yes, we talked about online exams. Like there are so many questions and not too much time. Sometimes some person might need more time to read, but the time goes, so it's not very efficient. Like online exams are not very good for any student, at least some of them, because the time is not enough and you have to concentrate and stuff like that. And yes, another very interesting issue that I really like are people that are in abusive relationships. They might not know who to trust. Even the police, they might be biased or something like that. So that's a very important issue, I think, for both women and men. Let's just not focus on women. And yes, and another one is housing. A volunteer, I guess, she said she had an experience or heard from a friend that in a building she was trying to live there, but the landlord said we don't need too many black people in a building. Yeah, I was surprised too. Unfortunately, this is a story. But the time was not too much because all of these issues and each of us had to talk about, explain, and 15 minutes is not too much.
Yeah, you're right. There are too many. Apparently, there are too many issues that are being mentioned. We've covered working, we've covered housing, we've covered discrimination, we've covered the mental health.
So that's all from group.
Yeah, and we've even covered the education quality. And actually, guys, I want to pause before we go to room 6 and say that I appreciate what everyone here is doing. We obviously have a very high sense of our rights and about the quality of living that we deserve. And I just want to tell you guys to keep going, demanding everything that is yours. And I really appreciate this group of people for their great creative thinking and for their sense of justice. We're gonna go to group 6, our last group, which is the representative, I think, is Izu. Izu, can you unmute your mic?
Yes, I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
All right. Group 6, we talked extensively on the rising cost of basic amenities. Of course, we know that the COVID-19 came with some kind of negative effects, like inflation of goods and services. So we talked about that as a problem faced by international students. We also talked about due to this high level of inflation and the lockdown, the effects of the lockdown, we had lots of jobs and also sources of livelihood, which was also a problem faced by many international students in the island. So another issue again we raised was that of inadequate information. Information wasn't adequately circulated, in public media space. And if you realize that most of the media houses we have here, a good number of them.
We cannot hear you, or at least I cannot.
Yes, we can't hear you.
I think a call came in and cut off his mic.
Yeah, Izu, but he's talking. He can't even hear us, right?
He cannot.
Let me text him.
Try unmuting and mute and then unmute again. No, we can't hear you.
That's weird.
It usually happens sometimes when you receive a call. So he probably needs to kind of maybe leave Zoom and then get in back or try to unmute himself.
Okay, did you hear him? Can you do this if you heard him, Iso? Okay, tamam, you're leaving and coming back. Perfect, perfect. Okay, do you think we should wait or someone should take over from room 6?
Yeah.
Nancy, you're going for it?
I could take over. I think
Come
we
on.
covered most of the points already.
But Nancy, can you increase your voice, please? Because I'm writing down what you're saying.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's better.
I think he covered most of the points. I think he ended with the issue of lack of
Information.
Inadequate circulation of information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially with regards to circulation of information on issues with COVID-19. As for international students, we saw that it was mostly VOIS that was helping in translating and circulating that information properly.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have the issue of control, like the government's inadequate control and provision of support systems in issue areas such as money transfer agencies. Like for instance, getting finance through these money transfer agencies during the lockdown period was really difficult for most students because, well, there's like a lot of protocol, or probably there's just one finance system that is open and accessible to all international students. So that was an issue. And then another issue that was raised is school fees. The fact that even though the system of education has changed and is online, and a lot of social services that was provided by the school and charged on students are no longer in existence, the tuition fee or generally has not changed. For instance, transportation for students within transportation is no longer working. For instance, there's no cleaning of classes and all of that. And from what we understand, all of those things are charged and added to like the tuition fees. But for some reason, the fees is still the same, but those services are not offered at the moment. So that was a problem. And I think another person proposed more like from a positive point of view that while we're in this lockdown, in as much as we have to focus on the issues that are affecting us, we should also focus on improving on certain areas so that we can make life better after the lockdown. And one of these areas is probably acquiring skills such as trying to learn the Turkish language, for instance, for your own personal development, so that at the end of the lockdown, probably it'll be easier for you to navigate properly or get access to other services that unfortunately is provided only in Turkish. And then another thing that I'll just add in that minute is also the rise in domestic violence cases during the lockdown, especially among students as well as locals. So these are like the problems so far that we identified. And I think to sum it all up, a probable solution would be VOIS kind of coming in and tabling a petition to the government or to the appropriate authority areas to look into these issues and try to come up with a compromise that would be healthy for students, or at least that would aid students in a way. And then for the domestic violence, sorry, I'm talking as the head of the committee for this one.
It's okay.
My solution to this problem, or a proposition, please, if you come across any incident of violence, domestic violence whatsoever, be your brother's keeper, report. If the person experiencing the violence at that moment cannot speak because of probably the trauma that they're going through, please step in the shoes and report. Write to VOIS on our social media pages. Contact anytime you observe anything in relation to violence, please don't hesitate to report, even if you're not directly affected in the situation. That will really help to go a long way to reduce the rise in domestic violence. So that was all we had. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect, Nancy. And I hope you guys actually noted that down. If you actually are suspicious of any sort of abuse taking place around you, please report. Don't assume that anyone else will. Don't assume that victims are capable of just escaping their abusive relationships. And I'm only repeating this because it wasn't mentioned by any other rooms. Gender-based violence has increased during the lockdown. So everyone, please be as aware, check on everyone around you, and yeah, report as soon as possible. Check on your friends, check on your relationship. Make sure you're not being gaslighted or abused in any way or sense. And Voice Cyprus is always a platform that welcomes survivors. We actually have an open space for gender-based violence survivors. You can actually learn more about it in the Voice platform. But for now, guys, I'm so happy about all the ideas that you guys generated. It was a source of meaningful discussions. I've written everything down, trust on that. This is actually coming, the General Assembly is coming to an end, guys, but I really want to thank everyone who participated, everyone who joined with their ideas, with their creative solutions. And I am expecting more participation and more commitment because everyone here has basic knowledge of all sorts of action that international students need to take in the TRNC. So I'm expecting everyone's participation, sharing voice posts. Even if you want to volunteer, you can actually go through the link in Voice's bio. It's a very easy process. Ashraf wants to speak as well.
Yes, thank you so much, Maghazi. You can hear me, I guess. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the lovely finishing up. The breakout rooms were amazing. I was in one of the rooms. It was really good. I'm glad that I'm actually like surprised with how good the discussions were. Like it even surpassed my expectations. There were some really good points mentioned, some really good solutions. Every time we do like one of those workshops, we get surprised by the quality of the responses and interaction. Honestly, I'm really proud. I just want to highlight, first of all, I'm really happy also about the diversity of this workshop. I mean, I'm seeing people from all around, all walks of life, all sorts of countries, all sorts of ethnicities. I'm really happy about that. It's great to see the whole international student community, like not just a certain ethnicity or nationality, but all of us coming together as one to face our issues, which are shared by everyone, right? And I mean, there's issues that are shared by everyone. You said a lot. There was so many. I'm not surprised. Unfortunately, it's not the first time. Whether it's you mentioned working and how jobs were lost in Corona. You mentioned, I think, the biggest issue with the relief aid and how people are barely able to survive nowadays. Some people, or I mean, also like you mentioned the money transfer and how, like me personally, I know some people who are actually like in need of aid, not because they don't have money. They do have the money actually, but they can't receive it. To add to that, we mentioned the internships. I think all of it, whether the internships or the language barrier and stuff, kind of ties down. Even the gender-based violence ties down to one issue, which Salima really mentioned in the chat, and I'm really glad about that. It's basically kind of lack of any systematic, institutionalized systems, right, to help people. Alongside, basically, like, even though North Cyprus, or let's say this place, the university, is advertised and it's supposed to be a place for international students, and it's supposed to be, and it's advertised as one for that, but unfortunately, really unfortunately, for the most part, not all, but for the most part, when international students come here, they find the institutions, the systems very underdeveloped, lacking many areas. And unfortunately, some of these institutions are not even because of a lack of capacities, but because of a lack of willingness, which is really unfortunate when international students are contributing so much to the country here, to the economy, to the social treasury, let's say, to the social capital. So it's really sometimes disappointing, but as everyone said, I see like incredible capacities in international students here, incredible opportunities. And as one together like this from all walks of life, I really hope we can create more and more and develop more and more of those institutionalized systems and really make North Cyprus a student-friendly island, basically. Thank you, Maghazi, and back to you now.
Thank you, Ashraf, so much for your words. Always inspiring. I'm basically about to finalize everything unless anyone needs to say anything in the chat. But yes, thank you to everyone who joined us. Thank you to VOIS co-founders for creating this platform. Thank you to all the volunteers, the current volunteers, for all their hard work. I hope you guys are staying safe, are staying healthy, and yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you guys. And please, the chat, if you can see there's our Facebook link, our Instagram link. So share, follow, and thank you guys for joining.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks so much.
Thank you. You guys were
Thank you,
amazing.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, lot.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night.
Night, everyone.
Sure.